First contact in the belt. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the mining vessel Helios, watching the endless field of asteroids drift by in the dim light of the distant sun. After 15 years of deep space mining operations, she thought she'd seen everything the belt had to offer. She was wrong. "Commander, we're picking up unusual readings from AS 2047, reported Maya Patel, the ship's sensor specialist. Her dark eyes were fixed on the holographic display, fingers dancing across the interface. "The mineral composition doesn't match any known profile in our database." Sarah straightened. Her interest peaked. In the competitive world of asteroid mining, an unknown mineral composition could mean anything from a worthless rock to a fortune in rare elements. "Show me." The holographic display expanded, filling the bridge with a three-dimensional representation of the target asteroid. It was relatively small, barely 2 kilometers across, but the sensor readings were unlike anything Sarah had seen in her career. Beneath the ordinary rocky surface, something was generating complex electromagnetic patterns. "Get me a closer look," Sarah ordered. "But maintain safe distance protocols. Jackson, power up the mining drones." Marcus Jackson, their chief engineer, nodded from his station. The stocky man had been with Sarah on countless operations, and she trusted his judgment implicitly. "Drones are hot, Commander. But I'm seeing some weird power fluctuations. Whatever's in that rock is interfering with our equipment." The Helios drew closer to AS 2047, its powerful spotlights illuminating the asteroid's cratered surface. The crew worked in focused silence, each person aware that they might be on the verge of something unprecedented. The ship's AI, continuously updated their scans, building a more detailed picture of the anomaly. "Commander," AI's calm voice filled the bridge. "I've detected a geometric pattern approximately 40 meters beneath the surface. The regularity suggests artificial construction." Sarah felt her heart rate spike, but kept her voice steady. "Show me." The hologram shifted, peeling away layers of rock to reveal what was unmistakably a manufactured structure. Its smooth lines and precise angles stood in stark contrast to the natural formation of the asteroid around it. "Well," Marcus whistled softly, "I guess we're not alone after all." Sarah took a deep breath, knowing that the next few minutes would be crucial. This discovery could change everything. Humanity's place in the universe, their understanding of history, the future of technology. But one wrong move could also destroy priceless evidence of alien civilization. "Maya, start a full spectrum analysis." "Marcus, I want those drones ready for precision excavation." "Dr. Rivera, prepare for xenorchaeological protocols." She turned to their communications officer. "Zhang, send an encrypted message to Earth Command. Priority 1. Use the quantum channel." The crew moved with practiced efficiency, but Sarah could see the excitement in their movements, the slight tremor in their hands. They had trained for this possibility, but no one had really expected it to happen. The mining drones deployed, their laser cutters precisely removing layers of rock under Marcus's careful guidance. Hours passed as they slowly exposed more of the structure. It appeared to be some kind of vessel, sleek and otherworldly, its hull made of an unknown alloy that their sensors struggled to analyze. "Commander," Dr. Rivera called out, her voice tense with excitement, "I'm detecting changes in the structure's energy signature. It's responding to our presence." Before Sarah could respond, a beam of light shot from the partially exposed vessel, scanning the Helios from bow to stern. The ship's systems flickered momentarily, then stabilized. "ARIA, report." Sarah commanded. "No damage detected, Commander." "The scan appears to be a recognition protocol. The alien vessel is attempting to establish communication." The bridge's main display suddenly came to life with streams of unknown symbols. They shifted and changed, as if the alien system was learning their language in real time. Finally, words in English appeared. Criteria met. First contact protocols initiated. "Welcome, inheritors." Sarah exchanged looks with her crew. reading the same mix of awe and apprehension on their faces that she felt herself. They had just made first contact with an alien intelligence, and somehow it had been waiting for them. Dr. Rivera, continue monitoring energy levels. Marcus, secure the drones. Maya, maintain full sensor suites. Sarah straightened her uniform, a habit from her military days. Zhang, update Earth Command on our situation. Whatever happens next, humanity needs to be ready. The alien vessel continued to emerge from its rocky tomb, each revealed section more fascinating than the last. Its design was elegant yet functional, suggesting a civilization far more advanced than their own. But the real questions remained. Why was it here? Why had it waited? And what did it mean by calling them inheritors? As the next few hours unfolded, Sarah and her crew worked tirelessly to document everything. They were making history with every passing moment, and she was determined to do this right. The fate of humanity's first contact with alien intelligence rested in their hands, and Sarah Chen intended to make sure they were worthy of whatever legacy they had just discovered. The answers would come soon enough. For now, they had work to do, and Sarah couldn't help but smile at the thought that their routine mining operation had just become the most important scientific expedition in human history. The real adventure was just beginning. The Awakening. 24 hours after their momentous discovery, the Helios crew had made significant progress in exposing the alien vessel. The ship's elegant hull now gleamed under their floodlights, its surface marked with intricate patterns that seemed to shift in the darkness of space. Commander Chen supervised from a makeshift control center they'd established on the asteroid's surface. She watched through reinforced windows as Marcus and Dr. Rivera worked to interface their equipment with what they believed to be the vessel's main access point. Their mining laser had been repurposed into a precision cutting tool, guided by the alien ship's own scanning technology. The alloy is unlike anything we've ever encountered, Maya reported from her station aboard the Helios. It's responding to our attempts to analyze it by adapting, almost like it's teaching itself about our technology. Sarah frowned at that. Araya, what's your assessment of the potential risks? The AI's response was immediate. The vessel's behavior suggests an advanced form of autonomous response system. However, all interactions thus far have been non-aggressive and appear aimed at facilitating communication. A sudden pulse of energy rippled across the alien ship's surface, causing their equipment to surge. Marcus jumped back from his position, but the tools he'd been using remained suspended in midair, held by an invisible force. Everyone, hold positions, Sarah commanded, fighting her own instinct to retreat. AI analysis. Before the AI could respond, the alien vessel's surface began to reconfigure itself. Sections of the hull shifted and flowed like liquid metal, forming what was unmistakably an entrance. Their tools were gently lowered to the ground as a soft blue light emanated from the opening. Fascinating, Dr. Rivera breathed, her scientific curiosity overtaking any fear. It's not just responding to us, it's accommodating us, creating an airlock that's compatible with our equipment. Sarah made a quick decision. Dr. Rivera, Marcus, fall back to the control center. We need to approach this systematically. She opened a channel to the Helios. Maya, are you seeing any changes in the energy signatures? Yes, Commander. The vessel is generating an atmospheric bubble around the entrance. Composition appears to be exactly matched to Earth's standard atmosphere. This can't be a coincidence. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. This alien technology wasn't just advanced, it was actively working to make itself accessible to them. The implications were staggering. Earth Command has responded to our updates, Jean reported through the comm. They're scrambling every available research vessel to our location, but the nearest support is still 48 hours out. We're authorized to proceed with preliminary investigation, provided we maintain safety protocols. Sarah nodded. They couldn't wait 2 days, not with the vessel showing such direct signs of interaction. We'll proceed with a minimal team. Marcus, prep our best scanning equipment. Dr. Rivera, You're with me. Maya, maintain constant monitoring from the Helios. Zhang, keep that quantum channel to Earth open. Within an hour, Sarah stood before the entrance with Dr. Rivera and Marcus, all three sealed in their most advanced EVA suits. The blue light pulsed gently, almost invitingly. Commander, Aria's voice came through their comms. I'm detecting a complex data structure emanating from the vessel. It appears to be attempting to establish a more direct form of communication. Sarah took a deep breath. Can you interpret it? Partially. It's an artificial intelligence, far more advanced than myself. It's requesting permission to interface with our systems. The crew exchanged glances. The potential benefits of such an interface were enormous, but so were the risks. Yet something about the alien eye's patient, careful approach suggested it was designed specifically for this moment. First contact with a developing civilization. Aria, establish a quarantine subnet for communication. Limited access only. Sarah straightened her shoulders. Let's say hello. The response was immediate. The blue light intensified, and holographic displays materialized around them, showing both familiar and utterly alien symbols. Aria began translating. I am the custodian, left by the predecessors to guide worthy civilizations. Your discovery of this vessel was not chance. You were drawn here when your technology reached the necessary threshold. You have passed the first trial simply by finding me. The implications hit Sarah like a physical force. This wasn't just first contact, it was a test. Humanity had unknowingly been taking part in some grand experiment or evaluation. The predecessors, Dr. Rivera whispered, an ancient alien civilization. The custodians' response appeared in their displays. They were the first to achieve galactic civilization in this spiral arm. They seeded the galaxy with vessels like this one, each containing a fraction of their knowledge. But they also left warnings of what forced them to take such measures. Sarah felt the weight of history pressing down on her. What happened to them? That information is part of the next trial. But know this. Your civilization's response to what I must share will determine not just your future, but your survival. The predecessors did not vanish by choice. They faced a threat that returns in cycles, and that cycle is nearly complete once again. The holographic displays filled with images of star systems, showing what appeared to be a wave of destruction moving through the galaxy. Sarah's military training kicked in, recognizing a tactical display when she saw one. How long do we have? By your measurements, less than 1 Earth year. But do not despair. You have already shown remarkable adaptability. The predecessors believed that younger races, properly guided, might succeed where they failed. That is why I was left here, waiting for a civilization with the right combination of technological achievement and innovative thinking. Marcus let out a low whistle, no pressure or anything. Sarah squared her shoulders. In the span of a day, they'd gone from a routine mining operation to standing at the crossroads of human history. But she recognized the opportunity being offered. Access to advanced alien technology and knowledge, specifically chosen for humanity's level of development. We'll need to coordinate with Earth Command, establish proper protocols. The custodian interrupted. Time is a luxury you do not have. The threat awakens, and your world remains unprotected. I offer you a choice now. Accept my guidance and begin immediate preparation, or I will wait for the next civilization to find me. Sarah looked at her crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she felt. Humanity had always faced its challenges head-on, and they wouldn't back down from this one. We accept your guidance, custodian. Where do we begin? The alien eye's response was immediate, and Sarah could have sworn she detected a note of approval in its translated words. We begin with understanding. What your people must face, what the predecessors discovered too late, is a force that does not simply destroy civilizations, it harvests them. And it has had countless millennia to perfect its methods. The holographic displays shifted, showing images that made Sarah's blood run cold. The next trials would not be simple tests of technology or intelligence. They would be preparation for survival itself. Legacy of the predecessors. The next 72 hours aboard the Helios passed in a blur of activity. Earth Command had declared their discovery a top priority, but Sarah's crew remained the only humans in direct contact with the custodian. The alien eye had been clear. Time for careful deliberation was a luxury they couldn't afford. Sarah watched as Marcus and Dr. Rivera worked with their mining equipment, now transformed by the custodian's guidance. The ordinary industrial-grade lasers and cutting tools had been modified with principles that seemed to defy conventional physics. Their mining drones now operated with impossible precision, their sensors detecting layers of reality they never knew existed. "It's extraordinary," Dr. Rivera explained, gesturing at the holographic displays that filled their makeshift command center. The predecessors didn't just master space travel, they understood the fundamental structure of the universe in ways we never imagined. But they're teaching us gradually, building on what we already know rather than simply giving us their technology. Maya's voice came through the comm system, excitement evident despite her professional tone. "Commander, you need to see this. The quantum modeling area and a custodian just completed. It's revolutionary. We're looking at energy generation systems that could power all of Earth using something the size of a shipping container." Sarah nodded, but her military mind was focused on more immediate concerns. What about defensive applications? The custodian mentioned a threat, something that harvests civilizations. "We need to understand what we're up against." The custodian's response materialized in their displays. "Your focus on defense is appropriate, Commander Chen. The harvesters, as the predecessors named them, are unlike any adversary your species has conceived. They do not seek resources or territory in the way you understand conflict." The holographic displays shifted, showing images that made Sarah's throat tighten. Massive structures that seemed to bend space itself, worlds transformed into unrecognizable configurations, and most disturbing, entire civilizations reduced to components in some vast, incomprehensible machine. "They don't just destroy," the custodian continued, "they repurpose. Every civilization they encounter becomes part of their collective, their knowledge and technology absorbed, their very consciousness integrated into the harvester network." The predecessors discovered this too late, after many of their worlds had already fallen. Marcus whistled low. "So they're like a virus, or more like the ultimate corporate takeover." "An apt comparison," the custodian replied. "But their method of absorption is far more complete than any biological or social process you've encountered. They don't just take technology or resources, they reshape matter and consciousness itself to serve their purpose." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. How did they defeat the predecessors? "From what you've shown us, they were far more advanced than we are." The predecessors' greatest strength became their weakness. Their technology was so integrated, so connected, that when the harvesters breached their defenses, entire systems fell simultaneously. That is why I am teaching you differently. You must develop technology that remains resilient, adaptable, and most importantly, independent. Dr. Rivera looked up from her calculations. "That's why you're not simply giving us your advanced technology. You're teaching us to develop our own versions, based on our current understanding." "Correct. The harvesters expect certain patterns, certain approaches to technology. Your mining equipment, for example, crude by predecessor standards, but potentially devastating when modified with principles they never considered. The harvesters have never encountered a civilization that developed along the path we are creating." Sarah began to understand. "We're not just learning your technology. We're creating something new, a hybrid of human innovation and predecessor knowledge." The custodian's response held a note of what might have been satisfaction. "Now you comprehend. The predecessors believed that younger races, properly guided but allowed to develop their own solutions, might succeed where they failed. Your species' history of adaptation, of surviving despite limitations, makes you uniquely suited to this approach." Maya's voice cut in urgently. Commander, the long-range sensors, they're picking up something. The patterns match what the custodian showed us about Harvester scout ships. They're still months away, but they're early, the custodian confirmed. Your activities here have drawn their attention. We must accelerate our preparations. Sarah straightened, years of command experience kicking in. How much can we accomplish in the time we have? With your current rate of adaptation and learning, enough to give humanity a fighting chance. But you must understand, this is not a war that can be won through strength alone. The Harvesters expect resistance. What they do not expect is innovation. The displays showed new schematics, modifications to Earth's existing defense systems, adaptations of common technology that would be overlooked until it was too late, and most intriguingly, ways to use the very mining equipment that had led them to this discovery as weapons. Your species excels at finding unexpected solutions, the custodian noted. The predecessors built mighty weapons and vast shields. And fell. You must be different. You must be unpredictable. The knowledge I give you is not a blueprint to follow, but a foundation to build upon. Sarah looked at her crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she felt. They had started this journey as miners, looking for valuable minerals in forgotten corners of space. Now they stood at the forefront of humanity's greatest challenge, armed with the legacy of an ancient civilization and their own human ingenuity. We'll need to coordinate with Earth's governments, set up manufacturing and training programs. Sarah began. All necessary steps, the custodian agreed. But first, you must complete your understanding of what we face. The Harvesters are not simply an enemy to be defeated. They are a fundamental force in the galaxy, as inevitable as entropy. The predecessors sought to fight them directly, and were consumed. You must learn to be something else entirely. The holographic displays filled with new information. Not weapons or defenses, but patterns, principles, ways of thinking that challenged everything they thought they knew about technology and civilization itself. The true legacy of the predecessors, it seemed, was not their advanced technology, but the wisdom to know that such technology alone would never be enough. Humanity would have to forge its own path, combining the knowledge of the past with the innovation of the present, to create a future that even the Harvesters couldn't predict. Trial by fire. The first Harvester scout ship appeared at the edge of the solar system exactly as the custodian had predicted. But humanity was ready, or as ready as they could be after 3 months of frantic preparation. Sarah stood on the bridge of the Helios, now transformed into something that barely resembled its original mining vessel configuration. The ship's industrial equipment had been modified with predecessor principles, creating systems that defied traditional classification. What had once been mining lasers were now weapons that could alter the very fabric of spacetime, while their cargo holds contained swarms of automated drones that could reshape matter at the molecular level. Scout ship has crossed Neptune's orbit, Maya reported, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. Its energy signature matches the custodian's profiles exactly. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of command more heavily than ever. The Helios wasn't alone. A hastily assembled fleet of converted mining and cargo vessels surrounded them, each modified in ways that made them look more like abstract art than spacecraft. Earth's traditional military vessels held position further back, their more conventional weapons serving as a last line of defense. Remember, Sarah broadcast to the fleet, we're not here to engage directly. The custodian's strategy depends on letting them think they found exactly what they expect. A young civilization, barely reaching into space. Our true capabilities must remain hidden until the perfect moment. The scout ship approached with the casual arrogance of an apex predator that had never known defeat. Its design was organic and geometric at the same time, suggesting technology so advanced it had circled back around to looking natural. But Sarah and her crew knew better now. They understood that this apparent perfection was also a weakness. They're scanning the system, Marcus reported from his engineering station, running through standard protocols, just like the custodian said they would. They're looking for signs of quantum technology, unified field manipulation, all the hallmarks of civilization development. And finding exactly what they expect, Dr. Rivera added with grim satisfaction. Our masking systems are working perfectly. To their scans, we look like we're barely managing fusion power. The scout ship continued its methodical advance, paying little attention to the scattered fleet of apparently primitive vessels. Sarah watched the tactical display, counting down the moments. Everything depended on timing, on letting the harvesters think they had the upper hand until it was too late. "They're launching probes," Maya announced. "Standard pattern, spreading out to catalog resources and population centers." Sarah took a deep breath. "Initiate Phase 1. Across the fleet, modified mining drones activated, their supposedly crude industrial equipment, beginning a process that the harvesters wouldn't recognize until it was too late. The probes passed through clouds of what appeared to be mining debris, worthless dust and gas that their advanced sensors barely registered. But each particle of that debris contained microscopic machines, based on human nanotechnology, but enhanced with predecessor principles. As the probes moved through these clouds, the particles attached themselves, beginning a subtle but irreversible transformation. "Infection rate at 80% and climbing," Marcus reported. "The probes aren't detecting any changes to their systems." The scout ship, still confident in its technological superiority, began its final approach toward Earth. Its sensors had cataloged what appeared to be a typical pre-spacefaring civilization, exactly the kind of easy target the harvesters had consumed countless times before. That's when Sarah gave the signal to execute Phase 2. Every modified mining vessel in the fleet activated their transformed industrial equipment simultaneously. What had appeared to be primitive mining lasers and cargo manipulators revealed their true nature. The apparently empty space around the scout ship suddenly blazed with energy as thousands of quantum-scale manipulations occurred simultaneously. The harvester vessel reacted instantly, its organic-looking hull flowing and reshaping itself to meet the threat. But it was already too late. The infected probes, now fully transformed by the human-designed nanomachines, turned against their parent ship. From the harvester's perspective, it must have seemed impossible. Their own technology, their own probes, suddenly operating with principles they had never encountered. "Direct hit on their primary systems," Maya called out. "They're attempting to adapt, but the infection is spreading faster than they can compensate." Sarah watched as the mighty scout ship began to break apart, not from conventional weapons, but from the inside out. The harvesters had expected resistance. They had encountered and overcome countless forms of defense over the millennia. But they had never faced anything like this. Human ingenuity combined with predecessor knowledge, creating something entirely new. "They're transmitting," Dr. Rivera shouted, sending out a distress signal. "Let them," Sarah commanded. "That's part of the plan." The custodian's words echoed in her mind. The harvesters must not simply be defeated. They must be shown that their assumptions about technological development are fundamentally flawed. Only then will they hesitate, recalculate, and give humanity the time it needs. The scout ship's destruction was spectacular but controlled. Every piece of debris, every fragment of its advanced technology, was already being collected and analyzed by swarms of modified mining drones. Even in its death, the vessel was teaching them more about their enemy. "Signal sent successfully," Maya confirmed. "The main harvester fleet will know exactly what happened here." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Good. Let them come. Let them see that humanity won't be harvested. We're not their prey, we're something they've never encountered before." The fleet regrouped, already beginning to implement the modifications they'd learned from this first encounter. Earth's defenses would be even stronger when the main fleet arrived. The harvesters were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology or their weapons, but in their ability to adapt, to think differently, to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. The real battle was still to come, but humanity had passed its trial by fire. They had proven that the predecessors' faith in them was not misplaced. When the harvester fleet arrived, they would find not just another civilization to consume, but a species that had taken the legacy of the past and forged it into something entirely new. The age of human innovation was about to reshape the galaxy. Inheritors. 3 weeks after the destruction of the scout ship, the main harvester fleet arrived. It emerged from deep space in a display of power that would have once terrified humanity. Dozens of massive vessels that seemed to bend reality around them, each one capable of consuming entire worlds. But humanity was no longer the same civilization they had come to harvest. Under Sarah's leadership, the lessons learned from the scout ship encounter had been implemented across Earth's combined fleet. Every mining vessel, cargo hauler, and civilian craft had been transformed into something the harvesters had never encountered before. They're deploying in a standard conquest formation, Maya reported from her station aboard the Helios, exactly as the custodian predicted. They still think they're dealing with a lucky primitive species that managed to destroy one scout ship. Sarah nodded, watching the tactical display where hundreds of modified human vessels moved into their own carefully planned positions. They're about to learn differently. Signal the fleet. Initiate Adaptation Protocol Alpha. Across the solar system, humanity's vessels began to change. The harvesters had expected to find ships attempting to copy their technology, trying to match their advanced capabilities. Instead, they found themselves facing something entirely different. Vessels that seemed to ignore the conventional rules of space combat altogether. Former mining ships used their modified industrial equipment to reshape the very space around the harvester fleet. Cargo haulers released clouds of nanomachines that didn't attack the enemy vessels directly, but instead transformed the fundamental properties of spacetime in their vicinity. Research vessels projected fields that made normal physics misbehave in ways that even the harvester's advanced technology couldn't compensate for. Main harvester fleet is attempting to adapt, Marcus called out. But they're following predictable patterns. They've never had to deal with this kind of asymmetric warfare before. The custodian's holographic presence manifested on the bridge. Your species' greatest strength is not in matching the harvester's power, but in thinking in ways they cannot comprehend. They expect civilizations to develop along predictable lines. You have become something else entirely. The battle unfolded across the solar system, but it was unlike any combat humanity had ever engaged in. The harvesters' mighty weapons found themselves firing into empty space as human vessels seemed to exist in multiple locations simultaneously, their modified mining equipment creating quantum uncertainties on a massive scale. They're trying to activate their harvest protocols, Dr. Rivera announced, monitoring the energy signatures, attempting to begin the absorption process. But the harvesters' attempt to assimilate human technology backfired spectacularly. The hybrid systems they encountered, part human ingenuity, part predecessor wisdom, and entirely unpredictable, resisted absorption. More than that, they began to influence the harvester vessels themselves. "It's working," Maya exclaimed. "The quantum variance fields are cascading through their fleet. Their ships are losing coherence." Sarah watched as the mighty harvester vessels began to falter. Their organic geometric forms started to break down, not from destruction but from fundamental transformation. The nanomachines and modified industrial processes that humanity had developed were not destroying the enemy fleet. They were changing it into something else entirely. All ships pressed the advantage. Sarah commanded, "Don't let them stabilize their systems. Keep pushing the transformation protocols." The harvesters tried to retreat, to regroup and analyze this unprecedented threat. But they had never developed defenses against this kind of attack because they had never imagined it was possible. Their technology, evolved over millennia of consuming other civilizations, had become predictable in its very advancement. "Commander," the custodian's voice held a note of what might have been pride. "Your species has achieved something the predecessors never thought possible. You haven't just defeated the harvesters, you've shown them that their entire approach to technological evolution is flawed." The battle's conclusion was not marked by explosions or destruction, but by transformation. The mighty harvester fleet, which had consumed countless civilizations across the galaxy, found itself changed at the most fundamental level. Their ships, their technology, even their consciousness was reshaped by humanity's hybrid innovations. They're retreating, Maya confirmed, but they're not the same as they were. The transformation is permanent. They can't even maintain their original form anymore. Sarah stood at her command station, watching as the remnants of the Harvester fleet flood into deep space. They had come expecting to find another civilization to absorb into their collective. Instead, they had encountered something that had changed them irrevocably. "The cycle is broken," the custodian announced. "For the first time since the predecessors fell, the Harvesters have been forced to evolve in a new direction. You have not just defended your world, you have changed the very nature of the threat." Dr. Rivera looked up from her readings. The transformed Harvester ships, they're broadcasting on all frequencies. It's an acknowledgement of defeat, but more than that, they're requesting dialogue. Sarah felt the weight of the moment. Humanity had done more than survive. They had forced an ancient, seemingly unstoppable force to recognize them as equals, not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through the uniquely human ability to innovate, to combine ideas in ways that had never been tried before. "The predecessors chose well," the custodian said. "They believed that younger races, properly guided but allowed to develop their own solutions, might succeed where they failed. You have proved them right. Humanity is ready to take its place, not just as inheritors of their legacy, but as architects of a new future." The bridge crew of the Helios, once simple miners who had stumbled upon an alien artifact, now stood as representatives of humanity's potential. They had taken the knowledge of an ancient civilization and combined it with human ingenuity to create something entirely new. "Send word to Earth," Sarah commanded. "The immediate threat is over, but our work is just beginning. We have a galaxy to rebuild, and this time, we'll do it differently." As the modified mining fleet regrouped around Earth, Sarah reflected on how far they had come. From discovering an alien vessel in an asteroid to reshaping the future of galactic civilization, it was a journey that only humanity, with its unique combination of adaptability, creativity, and determination, could have achieved. The age of harvesting was over. The age of transformation had begun, and humanity would lead the way into this new era, not as conquerors or victims, but as innovators who had proved that the greatest power in the universe was the ability to think differently. The stars beckoned, and this time, humanity approached them not with fear of what lurked in the darkness, but with confidence in their ability to face any challenge, adapt to any situation, and transform any threat into an opportunity for growth. They were the inheritors now, but they would forge their own path among the stars.